Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Cohen. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to manage anxiety on test day. So, it's normal to feel anxiety when you're taking the SAT. It's a big test, but it's important not to let that anxiety take over the show when you need to perform. So, fortunately, there's a lot of things you can do to help manage that anxiety. First, let's talk about what you can do before the test. One great thing is to spend about 10 minutes the day before the test writing about your worries. Now, I know this may seem a bit counterintuitive, but a number of studies have shown that people who have to perform in high pressured situations tend to do better, have less anxiety, and perform better cognitively when they write their worries down about that performance the day before. For some reason, it helps kind of get those worries out of our head so they end up taking up less of our attention on test day. Another writing exercise that's been shown to be helpful in these situations is to write for about 10 minutes before test day about all your different positive attributes. You know, what you bring to the table in terms of your friends, your family, your activities, your interests, to really bring to light how diverse a person you are and how many different positive attributes you have. This basically helps reduce the anxious idea in our head that we're defined just by the test and just by the score we get, which is completely untrue. And the more we can remind ourselves of how we have all these other attributes to our identity, the less emphasis we're going to put on the test, the less anxious we're going to feel consequently, and the better we're going to do. It's also really important that you simulate the pressure you're going to face on the test before the test, that you simulate it realistically and frequently. So how can you do this? Take practice tests, full-length practice tests. Take them whole from beginning to end, take them timed, and only allow yourself 2 to 3 5-minute breaks during the whole test, which is what happens on test day. You're going to be taking the test from some time between 8:30 and it'll start between 8:30 and 9 a.m. So start taking the test during those times. You'll be taking the test in an unfamiliar location that's new, not all the time, but often. So practice, taking the test in different and unfamiliar locations. Get out of your comfort zone, basically, which will help turn the pressure on, and you'll become more acclimated to the pressure. Also use the official bubble sheet, number 2 pencils. Make it as realistic as possible. And then when you're actually sitting for the test, it'll be more familiar and you'll be better equipped to deal with that pressure. Okay, so what happens when, you walk into the test center on test day and you're really nervous? Your palms, are sweaty, your heart's racing, you feel like, it's the end. Well, all you have to do is reinterpret these bodily reactions as positive rather than negative signs. So think to yourself, my heart's racing and my palms are sweaty because I'm so excited about how well I'm going to do on the test, and I can't wait to get in there and do it. And we can actually do a pretty good job of tricking ourselves into believing that we're having these reactions for positive reasons, which is going to bolster our confidence, cut back on the anxiety, and really help our performance as a result. Now, if you find yourself thinking a lot of negative thoughts that keep creeping into your head, one powerful thing you can do is to act like an outside observer. So listen to the thought, acknowledge it, and then let it go. And it may come back, in which case you listen to it again, acknowledge it, and let it go. So the trick is not to get caught up in the thought, not to think, oh, that's right, and then this will happen, and then this, but just to listen to it and let it go. So you're kind of acting like a third-party, outside, objective observer listening to these thoughts rather than a subjective participant in them. And this can really help you get a control of the anxious thoughts. You can also you can visualize an image to help replace the thoughts. So you might think of a red light, for example, which can help block out those thoughts from intruding. Lastly, don't put too much stock and importance into the test. Come test day, you will have prepared well, you'll do your best on the test, and that's all that matters. That's really true. And additionally, research has shown that people who put a lot of stock into something, who think that it's really important and everything hinges on it, are perform much more poorly on it on that task, test, than people who don't put too much stock into it. Because the more important we think something is, the more anxious we get. The more anxious we get, the worse we tend to perform. So it's really to your advantage not to consider this test that important. I'm not saying don't prepare well, prepare very well. But once you're prepared, you've done all you can do up to this point, and that's what matters. Don't let the test be the be all and end all of you.